everyone, it's Andrea, and welcome to this edition of Talks in the Car. Today, I want to share a story with you, and this is actually something that I am currently dealing with. So this is very much a transparent moment for me. But one thing that I have learned is that in everything that we deal with, everything that we go through, we can always find a lesson. We can always find a nugget of wisdom. We can always glean information that will help us to live our lives in a much better way, that will worship God, that will celebrate God. So in my moment of transparency, I hope that you are able to glean something that will make your life better, that will change your life for the better, that will allow you to be a better person in God, a better person in your natural life. So the question that I have for you to kind of start the story off is, how fast are you traveling in your life? Are you moving at God's speed, or are you moving at your own speed? Are you zipping through life without grasping on to the things that God wants to teach you, God wants to show you? Are you ignoring the scenery on the path that God has put you on, or God has allowed you to travel, simply because you are trying to hurry up and get through it? You're trying to hurry up and pass this particular season in order to move on to something different. So back in April, I was driving my son to work. It's about 5:30 in the morning, dropping him off at work before I went to my own job. And as I left his job, coming back onto the highway, there was a street that led onto the highway, and I wasn't really thinking. I was just going about my way. There was only one other car on the street besides myself, and I was thinking about what I needed to do for the day. I opened up the building at my job, so I was thinking about the routine that I normally go through, what needs to happen. I knew that there was a couple of teachers that were going to be out, so just trying to think about what my day might look like. And so as I got on to the main strip, lo and behold, I hear that sound that just crushes you. And when you hear the sound, you will know. It was whoop, whoop. I said, oh God. So I looked behind me and I saw an officer behind me. So I got out the way in my mind, thinking that they were going to pass me. But they got directly behind me, and I was like, oh gosh. So I pulled over and went to go pull out my license and my registration, because I knew I was going to have to, do all those things. Wasn't sure what was happening, what was going on. So when the officer came up to the window, she asked me, she said, do you know why I stopped you? And I said, no, ma'am, I don't. She said, you were she said, I clocked you at going 48 in a 25-mile zone. I was like, oh, Father. And honestly, I wasn't thinking about rushing to work. I really was just thinking about getting there, doing what I had to do, and getting my day started. And she went on to say, and this is the part that kind of flustered me, she went on to say, that's reckless driving. You're going 20 over the speed limit, and I could really arrest you right now. And in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, arrest? What? I have never. And in my mind, I'm having this whole conversation in my head while I am in panic mode. Never been in trouble with the law, never have had any conversation really with law enforcement, never had to go to court over anything, major. And so I was panicking, and she gave me the summons, told me, it's not something that I'm going to be able to pay for, like a regular ticket, something I'm going to have to appear in court for, because there's serious violations that go along with that. And so as I was pondering that, and I'm saying, was I really going that fast, and why was I not paying attention, and all of the things are coming in my mind, I'm thinking now, what am I going to do? So the following week I went to court, and the judge asked me, what do you want to do? Do you want to hire an attorney? Do you want a public defender? Do you want to represent yourself? So in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I could probably handle this. I can represent myself. Up to this point, I have, a 5+ rating on my driving skills. I pulled the DMV. I did speak to a friend of mine who is an attorney, and they gave me some advice. So I decided, to do some things. And after I continued on and on thinking about it and talking to other people, I finally decided, you know what? I may not be the best person to defend myself. So let me go ahead and look for an attorney. I don't have a regular attorney or someone that I would necessarily talk to. So I needed to find one. The person that I would have contacted is now a judge. So that wasn't someone that I could reach out to in this manner. But in all of that, as I was kind of going through what I need to do, how can I rectify this situation, God was saying to me, are you rushing through life too much? Are you listening to what I am saying while you are on the path that I have you on? Are you rushing to get past this particular season because you are looking to be in another dimension? You're looking to be in another season of your life. And I really had to ponder that, because there are things that I'm looking to happen in my life, and I feel like time is not on my side, and time is going by, and I'm looking at every birthday. I'm a year older, and it doesn't seem that I'm closer to where I want to be in my life. And all I can say is, God is saying to me, Andrea, slow down. I have you where I want you for a reason. I want you to learn some things in this season. I want you to glean some things in this season. There are things that I want to do with you and do for you in this season. But if you are trying to rush, if you are trying to speed by, you are not going to get everything that I want to impart in you, everything I want to pour in you, and then you are not going to be all that I have called you to be in this season. And so another part of that I began to think about is that when we rush, when we try to get ahead of God, when we try to move at a pace that He has not set us on, then we find ourselves in difficulty. We find ourselves having to do things that we wouldn't ordinarily have to do because we have decided to rush. So as a result of this situation, now I have to spend money that I don't have on an attorney. Now I have to spend money to go with some of the recommendations that the attorney said that I need to do. I need to go and get my speedometer calibrated. I need to take a driver improvement course just to show that I am taking responsibility for what I'm doing and trying to do better, even though my driving rating is a 5+, even though I've never been in a car accident, even though I've never had issues with law enforcement, even though over the 40 years that I have been driving, 35, 40 years that I've been driving, I can count on one hand how many times that I've had a ticket. Even though I've done all those things, I still now have to do some things that are different and put out money into things that I didn't plan on because I was clocked rushing, because I wasn't doing the speed limit, because I wasn't in the place where I need to be. And so I wanted to share that story with you to encourage you that as you go through your life, as you are on this journey that God has placed you on, don't rush. Don't try to speed to the next destination. Don't try to plow your way through. Do what you have to do at the speed that God has placed you on. Make sure that you are learning the lessons that God wants you to learn. Make sure that the things that God is saying to you that you can hear and that you're grasping onto and that they're taking root and that they're embedded in your heart, in your spirit. Because when you don't do that, when you find yourself trying to hurry up and rush and get from one place to the next place, then you find complications that will take place. Then you will find expenses spiritually, expenses physically, expenses mentally that will take over, that now you will have to pay the cost for. I now have to pay the cost of an attorney, as I said, pay the cost to have my speedometer calibrated, pay the cost for a class, and those things add up. Those expenses add up. Those things are detrimental. Now, yes, it will help me to be in a better place, and it will help me to make sure that I can change things and be in a different arena. But at what cost? The anxiety that's come along with it, needing to take time off of work in order to handle the situation, having to deal with the embarrassment of everything, having to deal with all that comes with the situation that may not have been what should have taken place had I just been paying more attention and just had slowed down, just had relaxed, just had not been so anxious to get to the next place that I needed to get to. But if I had just taken my time, I may not be facing the situation that I'm in right now. And so I want to encourage you. Slow down. Allow God to set the pace. Allow God to embed the lessons that He wants you to learn. Allow God to root what He wants you to know within your spirit. Don't be so quick to rush down the highway. Don't be so quick to get to the next place. Don't be so quick to get to where you want to get. You will get there, but in God's timing. You will get there, but in the condition that God wants you to be. Even when things happen that you don't mean to happen, things happen that were not on purpose. Sometimes we can avoid even the things that we don't mean to happen if we just slow down. Trust God. Let Him set the pace so that we can get to where God wants us to be in the manner that He wants us to get there. So I encourage you, slow down. Let God set the pace. Let me say it again. Slow down. Let God set the pace so you can get to where He wants you to get in His timing. Continue to pray for me as I go through this process. Pray that God opens up doors for finances so that I won't be too stretched, so that I can clear up this situation. But I pray that in me being transparent and sharing this experience, that you will be able to glean for your life, that you will be able to take in what I am pouring out, what I am sharing to you, so that you will not be hasty, you will not rush, and that God will be able to take you where He wants to take you in the time frame He wants to take you in. You have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next time on Talks in the Car.